Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be working on Chapter 8, Lesson 5 on inequalities. You need to have your book open to pages 617 through 620, and don't forget that you also need to have a pencil and take notes as they're being told to you throughout the lesson. All right, let's go ahead and look at page 617. I did you a favor here. So what I want us to concentrate first is on this part over here in this area. The two things that we're going to be learning today is we're going to learn that inequalities might have more than one solution, and inequalities are going to use symbols such as the greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to symbols. What I would like for you guys to do is go ahead and pause the video so that you can copy this information down, including the vocabulary on what an inequality is. I will go through the vocabulary part once you guys have copied it down. So the definition of what an equality is a mathematical sentence indicating that two quantities are not equal. So let's go ahead and look at the non-example part, which is right over here. We know that from using our equations, because we just got done with equations in Chapter 6, if you have an equation that says 6x equals 18, such as the example that's here in the non-example part, it's telling us that whatever's on this side of the equation is going to equal what's on the other side of the equation. So when you work this guy out, we obviously know that x is going to equal 3. So what that means is that when I plug in or substitute 3 where x is, I'm going to end up getting 18 on the left side and 18 on the right side. That's what tells me that it's equal. However, today we're talking about inequalities. And if you think about unequal, it basically means not equal. So for example, here's our example of an inequality. Instead of there being an equal sign, you're going to have an inequality symbol, such as a greater than symbol, such as shown in this example over here. On this guy right here, what it's telling you is when you figure out what the value of x is, the left side of the problem, so this is what the problem looked like, is going to be a number bigger than the right side of the problem. So for instance, whatever I find that x is, and obviously when we work this guy out, we're going to figure out that x equals 7. Well, it's telling us that I need to have a value of x that's going to be bigger than 13. So if I make that 7, then I'm going to end up getting 13 is greater than 13. That doesn't work. So it's telling me that x has to be a bigger number than 13, or the x plus 6 has to be a bigger number than the 13. And we're going to go into that when we get to our examples on the very next page. Of course, the symbols that we're going to be using are the symbols indicated over in the symbols box. We have the greater than, the less than. This symbol might be new looking to you. That means greater than or equal to, and that one means less than or equal to. All right. So what you see here is at the very top of page 618, this is really important that you guys memorize and know which symbol goes with which types of words. So the first one is pretty easy. When you hear the term is less than or is fewer than, that's pretty easy to know that the symbol that's going to match it would be the less than symbol. The other symbol, the next one where it says is greater than or is more than, that one's not too bad either, because on that one, it basically makes sense that it's going to be the greater than symbol. When you get to the less than or equal to and the greater than or equal to symbols, the first phrasing says is less than or equal to. That makes sense because you see the part where it says is less than, that's that symbol, or equal to. So basically the way they came up with the symbol is they took the less than symbol and the equal sign and they kind of combined it so that it looks like less than or equal to. But the one that's really tricky for people is this statement right here where it says is at most. A lot of people see the word most and they automatically think that it means more, so therefore they need to have the greater than symbol. However, that's not the case. When you hear and see the phrasing is at most, the symbol that goes along with this has to be and is your less than or equal to symbol. Now, if you look at the greater than or equal to symbol, it says greater than or equal to, so that's just the way it's read. But then look again at this one right here, where it says is at least. A lot of people hear the phrasing is at least, and they want to put that less than symbol in there, and that's not the case. It actually is almost like the opposite of what you think it would be. Now, as we go through examples, I'm going to show you, why that phrasing makes sense and why it is the way it is. So, before we move on to the next page, I'm emphasizing that you need to learn everything. You need to learn everything on this page. So, learn me. Put that note next to your inequality box here if you want to write it over in the corner over in this area, but I'm going to be looking for the phrasing learn me because you need to learn everything that's on there. Looking at example 1, here's where we're getting started with our work. So on this one over here, what we're going to be doing is it's asking you to, of the numbers 6, 7, or 8, which is a solution of the inequality. So what you're going to be doing, and I'm telling you this is going to be tedious at first, but there is a reason why we do things the way we do them. So the expression that you have is f plus 2 is less than 9. What I want you guys to do is we have a lot of area, space over in this area, so things that I'm going to be writing, I want you to put in the area that I just boxed in. This is where I'm going to be looking for it tomorrow when you come in and I'm checking your notes. So, but I'm going to be writing the black margin. So the inequality that I have is f plus 2 is less than 9. It wants me to test it with these 3 numbers. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to substitute in 6 for where f is because that's the first number I'm dealing with. And now I'm going to solve this guy. 6 plus 2 gives me 8. And I'm going to check, is 8 really less than 9? It actually is. So I know that this is a true statement. It is a solution. If you look at the next one, we've got f plus 2 is less than 9. So once again, I'm recopying the original inequality. I'm then going to substitute in my next value that it's telling me to test. And I copy the rest of the problem. 7 plus 2 gives me 9, and here it says 9 is less than 9. Is that statement true? No, it is not. So basically it would be, or you would write not a solution or no, it is not. And the final one is, and I'm going to have to put mine in here because I'm running out of space, f plus 2 is less than 9. Notice how I wrote this out 3 separate times. I'm going to substitute 8 over here. 8 plus 2 gives me 11. Is 11 less than 9? No, it is not. So therefore, our only correct solution is going to be the first one right over here that we did, whereas the only solution is 6, or the solution for this inequality based on the numbers they gave us is 6. Since the number 6 is the only value that makes a true statement, 6 is the solution of the inequality. So what I would like for you guys to do next is at the very bottom of your page, you have this one question where it says, of the numbers 8, 9, or 10, which is a solution of the inequality n minus 3 is greater than 6? What I want you to do is I want you to complete this problem in the work zone. We did not write in the work zone yet other than writing the learn me, pointing to the inequality symbol box. So I want you to do this work in the work zone, showing me, and yes, I'm going to have you write it 3 separate times and work it out just like we did in the previous example. Go ahead and pause your video, and when you come back, you're going to see this problem completed. So you can see here that I did not take any shortcuts, and I worked out every possible solution, which is the same thing that you need to be doing as well. All right, let's move on to the next page. Now on this one here, I wanted to bring up, since inequalities use greater than or less than symbols, one variable inequalities have an infinite many number of solutions. Okay, so what that means is, for example, if you have this inequality right here where it says x is greater than 4, what that's telling you is all the values of x, of this variable right here, all the values of x are going to be every single number that's bigger, that's what the greater than symbol says, bigger than 4, which means that x can be 5, 6, 7, 8, ... meaning all the way up to infinity. It could be an infinite number of solutions. So it's not just 5 is the answer or 7 is the answer, which is why we write it as x is a number that is greater than 4 in this example here. All right, so let's look at examples 2, 3, and 4 on the same page, 619. What you're going to be doing on this one is, it's asking you, is the given value a solution of the inequality? Now, I know that you can mentally plug in the given values and know right away whether or not your answer is accurate or correct or whether it's a solution. But that's not what you're doing because you have to show me all steps and all work. So for example, when you have the first problem, you're going to be writing on your papers x plus 3 is greater than 9. It's telling you right here that it wants you to test that x is 4. So underneath it, so this is my original problem. Underneath it, I'm going to substitute in my value of x, recopy the rest of the problem, and now I'm going to go ahead and solve this guy. 4 plus 3 on the left side of my inequality symbol gives me 7, and then I copy down my inequality symbol, and then 9. So this is the part that I'm checking. So I'm checking this guy right here. Is 7 really greater than 4? And actually it is not, so therefore you would tell me that 7 is not a solution. So continuing with number 3, what we have on this one is we have 12 is less than or equal to 18 minus y. In this problem, it's telling us that y has a value of 6. So I'm going to recopy my inequality, but this time I'm going to substitute in whatever my value is, which is 6 for my variable y. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of my 18 minus 6, which gives me 12. The other side, I've got my 12 that I brought straight down and my less than and equal or equal to sign. Now on this one here, the less than or equal to symbol, which is this guy right here, on this one here, it's telling us that we can actually have the same number on both sides because it's possible that both sides can be equal to each other. But the less than symbol is saying that I could also have numbers on this side right here that are less than the other side. But in this example right here, since 12 equals 12, 12 is a solution. Now you'll notice that on this problem here, we also talked about, or we didn't talk about it, but I also indicated or showed that you have the final one here where the 12 is on this side and the variable's on the right side. Well, it's possible that the variable can be on both sides, just like when we were doing equations. All right, so looking at your last example on this one you've got 17 is greater than or equal to 11 plus x. So with this one, you're going to substitute in 8 for x. 11 plus 8 gives you 19. And then you've got your 17 is greater than or equal to. Obviously 17 is not greater than or equal to 19, so therefore it is not a solution. Now these examples on this page I worked out, and I'm expecting, just because your instructions are to do the same thing that I'm doing, that for you to have worked them out over in that area over there. So hopefully that was done, and if not, then you're going to need to pause the video and go back and put these examples in as they were shown to you. Now it's your turn to try these on your own. So I know you can do these in your head, but I want you guys to pause the video. You need to show me all the work like I showed you before, and when you come back to your video, you're going to have all the solutions worked out. In example B, I substituted in 9 for A, and I worked out the problem. What I ended up getting was 16 is greater than 15. Since that is a true statement, we discovered that 9 is a solution for this inequality. On example C, I substituted in 6 for B, and I worked out the inequality, and I ended up getting 22 is less than or equal to 21. Well, since that statement is not true, it tells us that 6 is not a solution for this inequality. On examples D and E, you see for example D, I plugged in 10 for N in the inequality. Well, now when I worked it out and I got done, I got 6 is less than 6. Well, that's not a true statement, so therefore we would say that 10 is not a solution. On example E, what we ended up getting once I substituted in G was 12 is greater than or possibly equal to 12, which is why we have that underline. Since that part is true, we can say that 7 is a solution of this inequality. So for our final page and our final example, now before we get started on this one, I just want to let you know that they are plugging into something that is very obvious, but the main purpose is for you guys to practice writing down the inequality, substituting in, and actually trying to come up with a solution. So there is a reason why they're having you do this, even though you could easily look at this and tell me for sure which ones work and which ones don't. All right, so in example 5 it says, Louisa works at a gift shop. She receives a bonus if she makes more than 20 balloon bouquets in a month. Which months did Louisa receive a bonus? So we're going to obviously have to look at our table over here on the right-hand side to see which months she made more than 20 balloon bouquets, so that she can receive that bonus. Now, they're giving us an inequality in this problem. It says, use the inequality B is greater than 20, where B represents the number of balloon bouquets made each month to solve. So what we have here is you need to always look for those inequalities inside those inside the word problems. So we're going to start with copying down B is greater than 20. You guys could do this part in the left-hand side of your book underneath the balloon picture in the work zone. We'll have to squeeze it in there, but we can get it in there. So what that's telling us is we're going to get, it says here to use the guess, check, and revise strategy. Like I said, I know this is very obvious, but the purpose is to get you guys used to substituting in, checking, and revising. So going in order, the first thing I'm going to check is 25. I'm going to plug in 25 where B is, write down the rest of my problem here. So now I'm going to check this guy. Is 25 truly greater than 20? Yes, it is. So therefore, this is a possible solution. So now I'm going to check the next one. So once again, I start again with writing my B is greater than 20. And this time I'm going to plug in 12. And I'm going to check my problem here and see, is 12 really greater than 20? Since that is not a true statement, we would simply write no, or you could write not a solution. The next one is B is greater than 20 again. So yes, we're doing this very repetitively. We're going to now plug in the September amount, which is 18. Is 18 greater than 20? No. And then finally, once again, we're going to write B is greater than 20. We're going to substitute in the value 32 for B from our table from October. And we're going to check, is 32 really greater than 20? It is, because that's a true statement. So therefore, now you know which months she got a bonus, which would be the month that's represented by this one and this one. So you want to make sure that you go back to your table to actually find which months, because it's asking us use the inequality to figure out which months she made that bonus. So the first one was for 25, happened to be the month of July, and the 32 happened to be for the month of October. So your answer would be that Louisa received a bonus in July and October. So be sure that when you are writing these problems, that you are writing your responses in a complete sentence, because that's something that we're going to be doing more of coming up in third quarter. So to review a couple of things before you get started, the greater than symbol indicates that if I were to have b is greater than 4, that would be telling me that anything that b can be has to be a number that is bigger than 4, which means b can be 5, it can be 6, and it could be any number to infinity and beyond. With the less than symbol, if I have, for example, f is less than 5, what that's telling me is whatever f is has to be a smaller number than 5, which means f can be 4, 3, 2, 1. It could also be 0 and then negative numbers as well, which is something that we are going to get into in later chapters. We don't have to worry about them too much for the time being. With the greater than or equal to symbol, if I give you a value of, let's say I use t is greater than or equal to 2, what that's telling me is t can actually be 2, because it's saying it could be greater than or equal to, but then t is going to be every number larger than 2 also. So I want to make sure that you guys are understanding that when you see those greater than or equal to symbols, it can actually include that number as well. And then the opposite is true for less than or equal to. So if you have, for example, x is less than or equal to 3, what that's telling me is my answers could start with the number 3, because it says x could equal 3, but then it would be every number that's smaller than 3, of course, including our negative numbers. Okay, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be doing the guided practice. You must show the steps and the work as shown in this lesson. I know some of it is tedious, and I also understand that you're probably going to struggle to get it to fit on that page. So feel free to work and use a separate sheet of paper to complete this problem, so you guys can get these problems, so you guys can get your full credit for your assignment. All right, we'll see you back in class, and good luck. What I would like for you to do now is to compare the following statements by using the less than or greater than symbol. Go ahead and pause the video, and when you come back, we're going to have all the proper symbols in there. So you can see for number 1, the score after 2 goals is less than the score after 3 goals. Number 2, the cost to download 10 songs is greater than the cost to download 2 songs. Number 3, the outside temperature in summer is greater than the outside temperature in winter. Number 4, the height of a first grade student is less than the height of a 6th grade student. Now I do realize there could be some exceptions. And number 5, the time to eat lunch is greater than the time to brush your teeth. What this purpose was is to get used to using the symbol that points to the left to mean less than, and the symbol